Welcome back, all my Minecrafting friends. If you saw the first version of this, I want to apologize for all the cat noises. I didn't realize they were going to show up in the video, so that's why I'm filming it again. Okay, let's get something in the background that isn't going to make all that much noise and compete with the little thing I have to say. Too many cat noises there, Drew. This one's nice and quiet, but it's kind of boring. Ocean World. It's Lonely World. Let's see. What is the bottom one here? I know. Guys are going to be talking, but I will move away from where they're going to be making noise. Oh. Okay. There's no guys here. Wow. You got to be careful with this automatic jumping. You can just jump right off a cliff really easily. Okay. I don't think that there's any noise here. So. Let's just keep this in the background. Let me check and see if there's anything making noise. Music. Music is on. Let's see. Options. Sound. Music is pretty low. Let's make it. Okay. Alright. Now, let's talk about making MHC on a server. Okay? The last video was 30 minutes long. I want to try to keep this shorter, so I'll try to go through these points quicker. I've been considering making the MHC on a server because we haven't really had a large increase in players over the last year. It's, you know, our numbers are not growing ridiculously. The reason that we didn't have the MHC on servers in the beginning was so that it would be unlimited in the number of people that could play. Okay, I mean, if we had thousands of players, you know, it would still work just fine with our current model, with everyone recording in their own worlds and then posting on YouTube. But we don't have thousands and thousands of players. As you may have noticed, the number of players we have is probably around 50. And if we put them on a server, they wouldn't all be on at the same time anyway. So I can get a 30-person server for $25 a month, which is completely affordable for me. So that's what I'm thinking about doing, but I'm not doing anything until I get feedback from you players. Okay, I'm not gonna unilaterally go off and do this without consulting you guys. And if you guys say, no, this is a bad idea, then we won't do it. But this is the idea. Moving the MHC to a server would give us some advantages. What were those? Okay, well, for one thing, we can if Bakerville doesn't give out the seed, we don't have to worry about anybody doing off-world, other world exploration. Okay, don't think he can see me from down there. Put this right on the water, so okay. So how would this work? we would still do the same. Baker Bell would still, pardon me. Baker Bell would still do the same announcement videos that she's been doing, okay? But the challenges would have to be adjusted for us all being in the same world, because a challenge where we're tracking individual performance, such as how many emeralds can you accumulate, or how many levels can you get, or what's the highest enchantment you can do. Those things could still be individual challenges, and we could still have a competition and a winner. But in months like June, where the challenge is to fix up 2 villages and make a road between them, you can't really do that on an individual basis if we're all in the same world with the same 2 villages. So that would be a community challenge where we're not competing with each other, we're cooperating with each other and trying to, and we could fix it up a lot better with with the whole community working on it instead of just a bunch of individual players and small teams. We could make a really nice road. We could, make the villages very nice and fancy. Okay, so that's how the challenges would change. Either each month, the challenge would either be an individual challenge where we were all working for ourselves in the same world, or it would be a community challenge where we're all working together to accomplish some site-specific objective. Okay. As far as recording and playing, okay, we would remove the 8 or 9 day time limit. You could play as much as you want, whenever you want, record as much as you want, post your episodes whenever you want. So some people would still be posting, like 2 a week. Some people might be posting every day. You don't have to, your recording starts when you get in the world and it stops when you get out of the world. So it might, your episodes might be longer, they might be shorter. They don't have to be limited to 20 minutes. Whatever you would want to do with your YouTube channel, as far as recording and posting, would be up to you. I would still want to have everything on camera, which would be a good way to discourage people from grinding diamonds for 5 hours. If you know that you're going to have to, post all this diamond grinding videos on your channel, you're probably not going to do that. And we want to discourage people from grinding diamonds for 5 hours anyway. Okay. Because that would be a real imbalance in the game. If one player's got all diamond armor and everyone else has just got, partial iron armor, that's not really fair. So, okay. Let's see. What else? There are things that we can do on servers. I've been informed by Ron Smalek, who is a server expert, that we can set the server up so that sleeping in beds does not result in skipping any nights. Passive mobs can be protected by the server. We'll turn the PvP off so that one player can't go into the world and kill everyone else and say, I'm the last man standing, and turn the MHC into the UHC. We don't want to do that. So we'll have the PvP off. We can also yes, a lot of the rules we can build into the server, so that'll be nice. Let's see, no skipping the night. Rule number 2: no harming passive mobs. We can build that into the server. No eating the meat. We can build that in. Brightness set at 100%. That's that's up to that's recording and posting, you know, rule. That's not really has to do with gameplay. So you still want to have your brightness set up so that your audience can see, you know, what you're seeing. Playing on Moody is fine when you're not recording, but if you're recording, it's really hard for the audience to see what you're looking at. Okay. No AFK crop growth. That rule will have to be thrown out completely. There's going to be AFK crop growth, and that's just a fact of server life. And so we'll all benefit equally from that. Duplicate world exploration will be taken care of, because if we don't give out the seed, if Baker Bell, when her announcement video comes out, doesn't give out the seed, but just gives out the server information, then there won't be people opening up alternate worlds in creative mode and finding out where all the diamonds are and going to get them. So that would also be an advantage. Let me see. Everything on camera and at normal speed. I would still like to keep this rule, but we may relax it a little bit when you're doing things, because you're going to be spending a lot more time on the server probably than you do in the normal 8 days of MHC. And you may not want to record all of it, but you know, that doesn't mean that we want you to be doing endless grinding. But I don't know, how do I keep this reasonable? You know, we don't want someone spending, you know, 150 hours, you know, grinding all these resources out and then, you know, showing everyone else up. But at the same time, there's probably going to be more footage, you know, than you're going to want to put on your channel, because some of it is not going to be that good. Okay, so we can relax that rule a little bit as far as everything being on camera and at normal speed. Okay, so episodes run from sunup to sundown. That rule gets thrown out. The episodes, how they run, when you post them, you know, is completely up to the players. If we go to a server, okay. The no one dies on day one rule, we're gonna have to throw that out too. The server, if you log in and you die, well, then you're just out for that month, and you won't be able to log back in until the following month. And so if you log in and it's in the middle of the night and you're in the plains and there's mobs all over, get here, will you? Then I suggest, okay, don't kill this guy. Okay, thank you. Skeleton down there, but I'm too far away, I hope. Okay. If you spawn into the world in the middle of the night and you're out in the open and, you know, the skeletons are after you and the creepers are right there, and, you know, make a run for it, and then as soon as you get, you know, more than 16 blocks away from them guys, dig a hole and hide out. You know, do a Scody hole thing. We can all dig a Scody hole and survive until the daylight shows up, and then go out and do your thing. Okay, so be careful when you're logging in. This is all I'm saying, because there's no more forgiveness for day one deaths. When you die on the server, you're going to be locked out until the following month. Okay. Next rule. see, restoring from backup copies won't be a problem because there's no backup copies. Violence is going to be taken. PvP is going to be off, so that's not a problem. See, change the rules. Okay, another thing that we can do is the server can put a sign up with the name of the player and what killed them every time someone dies, and the rest of us that are still on the server can take the sign down and put up a memorial or a marker for them, which I would prefer that the markers be, you know, at least several blocks high, several blocks tall, so that they can be seen from a reasonable distance and have the player's name on it and how they died and any other information that you want to include. Now, the markers don't have to be simple. They don't always have to be the same. You can fancy them up any way you want, you know. But you know, don't just leave a little sign there. Okay. And that way, everybody that dies will get a marker, and not just the multiplayer, you know, not just the teams. Okay. Now, in the past, we have had teams where not all the players recorded, and we will still go with that. But at least one person on your team has got to record and post YouTube videos, because the MHC is a YouTube thing. It's not just a, you know, not going to be just a server thing where you go and play and no one ever sees it. It's for YouTubers that want to post videos, but you can have people on your team that don't post videos, just like we have always had. Okay, but if you're going in there single player, you know, you've got to post videos. If you're going in there on a team, someone on a team has got to post videos. And if the person that's doing the recording dies, then the whole team is out. Like, if there's a 3-person team and one person's recording and the other 2 are not recording, and the recording person dies, well, then all 3 of you are out. And so we'll take care of that, because we don't want to turn this into something where, you know, people just go in there and play and play and play and play, and we never see what they, you know, what they do. Okay. I think this is a lot shorter than the last one. If we decide to do this, you know, we'll try it for a month, and if we need to make changes, we can do that. You know, if we decide it's not working, you know, we can go back to our current model. You know, this is not a one-way trip, and I'm not going to be doing this without the permission of the MHC community. So let me know in the comments if you think that we should do this. Let me know if you have any ideas about, you know, how we need to do it, or what we need to not do, or what we need to do, anything like that. And let me see. I don't know if I've left anything out. Hopefully that torch is not too loud. And yeah, let's discuss this in the comments. Okay. Also, in addition to the PvP being off, also setting traps for other players is against the rules. So don't be running around, you know, setting, you know, TNT traps or you know, mob traps or whatever. So getting the other players killed is not an acceptable strategy for winning the MHC. Okay, even if we're playing you know, a competitive everyone for themselves single player objective that month. Okay, this is a player versus environment game, not a player versus player game, at least directly. Okay, it's player versus player if we're all, but through the environment, not directly against the other players. Okay. If we end up with lots of new players, and this really explodes, and we need to get a bigger server, I can do that. If it gets to be too expensive, I can start a Patreon account, and those people that want to kick in a couple dollars, a month, can help offset the costs. But we're not going to make this a pay-to-play game. It will always be free for everybody. The donations will just be optional, and only if they're needed. Okay. Most of our players are in either United States or Europe, and I talked to my son about how to set up the server. He's going to be running it, and he said that if he sets up the server in the United States, then the people in Europe might have slower connection to it. If he sets it up in Europe, the people in the United States might have slower connection. So I picked the United States. I told him to set it up. I think we've got more players here, but and the phone rings. Okay. Sorry about that. We're talking about ping. So we're setting up, well, if we do this, we're going to be setting the server up in the United States. And so the people in the United States should have pretty good ping, which means low lag. The people in Europe, it'll depend on their internet connection speed and some other random things that we don't have control over. If it turns out that the people in Europe just can't play because there's too much lag and it's unplayable, well then we will change course. We will do something. We will either not do the server altogether, or we'll figure out a way to make the server so that people on both sides of the Atlantic can play. We'll figure something out, okay? But we'll have to find out how that goes, when we get there. Let me see. I think I've covered all the points. So let me know what you think about the idea. And this is Mike Deering signing out. I hope there's not too much background noise from the game.